Greetings and bienvenue, Midnight Crew. Thank you for returning to this broadcast, and welcome to new viewers joining us for the first time. If you like a video, then feel free to subscribe.
Bime. Last summer. Visiting elderly mother on Isle of Skye. Lives in a remote tiny village on Sleep Peninsula. Driving to town on the main road to get shopping for her. Nice day. Occasional gusty winds, about 1 p.m. The road is quiet, only me driving. Hear a sudden rush of wind noise on my right side. Sounds exactly like a car overtaking me at high speed. Think nothing of it, funny gust of wind is all. Get shopping in town, return to my mother's house. Unpacking shopping. Jokingly say I got overtaken by a ghost car. Mother freezes.
Where, Anon? Did you see it? Were its headlights on?
WTF.png. Explain it was just a funny gust of wind that sounded like a car passing me. Mother explains that for decades on the Sleet Road, the locals have known about a ghost car. Usually at night. They see headlights coming. Pull over to the side of the road in a passing place to let it by a single-track road until about 15 years ago. Wait ages. Headlights disappear. A couple of people got run off the road by it. Headlights appear behind them coming at speed. About to hit them. They swerve onto grass to avoid collision. Get stuck in soft mud. No car passes. No headlights. This has been happening there since the 1950s. Drive that road regularly. Never hear a gust of wind like that again. Not so sure it wasn't the ghost car now. Not great OC. But OC is OC. Pick related is the Sleet Road from Google Street View. To illustrate how remote it is.
I have a few weird driving stories. They all take place on the same road in upstate New York. This is the least explainable of them, and to me, the freakiest. Be 3 or 4 in the morning in early August. Mostly clear skies. About to fall asleep when the phone rings. Answer it. It's some friends who want to kill some time. Agree to go drive around town for a bit. Sneak out of the house. Get in the car, me and 3 other people. We drove off. I live in an extremely small shitty town. Not much to do. Me and the driver have done this before. Go on the usual route through the city and into the boonies. Drive past all residential areas and onto familiar road. It's pitch black and the road is wooded on both sides, making a sort of roof above us. I look out the window and watch the sky for fun. Notice that the moon is very large and reddish tonight. Point it out to friends. The girl who's in the back seat with me gets nervous. Tell her it's fine. Sometimes the moon just looks freaky. I noticed a strange, large red orb in the sky. It was slightly below the moon. Probably about 1/10 of the size of the moon, maybe a bit less. Not really glowing, but it had light similar to the light that the moon gives off. Just a very striking red. Girl sees it too, and the person in the passenger seat gets a glimpse before we go around a bend and the trees get thicker. Lose sight of it. I suggest that maybe it's Mars. Mars is never that big or that red. Try to find a clearing to get a better look at it. Find an open area by a gas station. Look back up in the sky. We have a clear view of the whole sky at this point. The orb is gone. How did something that big and noticeable suddenly disappear? Of course, this could be something really easy to explain, but we couldn't find one at the time. The girl insisted we leave a S&P, so we got on the highway back to our town. I still think it might have been Mars, but my friends insisted it wasn't. Still a thrilling night. That road is just bizarre.
The most fucked up thing that's ever happened to me. Girlfriend and I are going to a party in the middle of nowhere. Small house on a huge property. Party is our back in the field by the pole barn. Great time, lots of people. Gets dark, so the host lights a big ass bonfire. Getting later. People setting up tents or just passing out in the barn. GF and I didn't bring our tent. And she's hammered. Decided to just head home. Walk the stretch of land back to the cars. Hear some howling out in the woods. Maybe a few miles out. Not unusual. Coyotes are fairly common in the area, and they don't really bother anyone unless they are threatened. As I leave, I call my buddy to give him a heads up about the coyotes. Said he heard them too. Didn't seem concerned. 45-minute drive home. Start getting tired. GF passed out already. Glance at her for a sec. Make sure she's okay. Look back at the road. Oh fuck me. There's coyotes on the road. Not just 1 or 2, but a fucking pack. I slam on my brakes and GF wakes up. Asks what the fuck is wrong with me. Point at the road, but they ran off. See a bloody mass in the road where they were standing. Pull forward slowly, realize it's a fucking horse. Shit's fuck up, bro. Girlfriend starts freaking out and hides her eyes. Have to get on the shoulder to pass it. Slow down to a complete stop just to get a good look. Steam rising from the torn flesh. Roll down my window. Stench is fucking unbearable. Hear strange noise. Realize it's deep, labored breathing. Horse's side is moving up and down. The fucking thing has been ripped apart and it's still breathing. Girlfriend starts begging me to go. But I'm fixated. If I had my gun, I would have killed the damn thing. She freaks out and points to the tree line. I don't see it at first, but after a second I notice them. It's the coyotes. Maybe a dozen or so. Just staring. One starts snarling, then yelping. They start yelping. They think we're trying to steal the kill. One finally breaks from the tree line and I speed the fuck out of there. Get home. Girlfriend is shaken pretty bad and I'm at a loss for words. Try to sleep, but I can't get the image out of my head. Call buddy the next day. Tell him the story. Tells me he heard the howling and yelping throughout the night. Got so close at one point that a few people who got spooked decided to sleep in their cars if not leave. I swear the horse was looking at me. Not at my car, but at me, in my eyes, almost like it was begging me to kill it. Coyotes aren't big animals. They don't normally behave brazenly. They live off of rodents or scavenge for dead animals. I've heard of them hunting in packs before. But the biggest thing I've heard of a pack taking down was a deer. I've lived in this area a long time. And I've never seen anything like it before or since. There definitely aren't any wild horses where I live. The whole situation was beyond fucked up for me and I still can't quite make sense of it all. My girlfriend refuses to talk about it. I still get uneasy if I hear them howling at night.
I have a few stories. Not so much paranormal, but still creepy. 2006. I turned 17, get first car. Hell yeah, freedom.jpg. Have QT girlfriend. Both of us live in houses with multiple siblings. No real privacy. Backseat sexy time is only sexy time. Live in rural Michigan, lots of dirt roads. Pick related. Go out one night, drive around for a bit. Park in the middle of nowhere. A few scattered houses here and there, both nothing else but trees and farmland for miles. Get into the backseat. Two-door car, so the backseat is cramped but we make the best of it. I'm in the seat, she's on top of me. Catch a glimpse of my rear view mirror, looks like something crosses the road behind my car. Distracted by boobs in my face. Suddenly, the dome light in my car comes on. Neither of us are anywhere close to the switch. Only way the light could come on is if someone tried to open the door. Screams internally. GF is kinda dumb, thinks the lights coming on is more funny than terrifying. Freaking out a bit, suggesting we should go somewhere else. She doesn't really get why, but she agrees. Have to physically get out of the car to get back into the front seat. As I'm getting back in, I hear what sounds like whispers in the woods and leaves crunching. Get in driver's seat and nope the fuck out of there. GF still in the back seat getting dressed, asks what's wrong. I don't want to freak her out, so I just play it off as nothing. About a mile down the road, see squad car driving slowly heading in my direction. It's a state trooper. I need to point out that the state police never go that far out unless they are dispatched. They don't just patrol out there. We pass, he swings a U-turn and pulls me over. Two officers get out, one on either side of the car. One on the driver's side asks for our IDs, asks what we are doing out here. Passenger side shines his flashlight around the car for a bit before turning towards the woods. Say we're just out for a drive. Goes back to his squad car, comes back a minute or two later.
These roads can be a bit dangerous at night. You kids better head home.
Drive away, he follows for about a half mile before I turn towards a main road. Another state trooper passes me before I hit the highway. The face when they were looking for someone.
Okay, I have one. Live in Norway. Driving home one night. In Norway, it never gets dark at night during the summer. This was around 1 a.m. and I was driving home. Light outside, but cloudy. To get home from her, I have to cross a mountain pass. There isn't much up there. Just some cabins and summer pastures for sheep and goats. I drive further up through a bend, and see a whole herd of sheep come towards me in the middle of the road. Sheep on the road is normal. Usually those bastards lie down on the asphalt to warm themselves during the evening, but these guys seem to be in a hurry. Get past the herd and drive further up the mountain pass. Get up to the highest point, which is a rather long valley. From the left-hand side of the valley, I saw something weird. At first I thought I was a fucking avalanche, but realized it was thick fog who came crashing down the mountain in a tremendous speed. I've never seen anything like it, and thought it was quite cool, so I stopped the car to film it with my mobile. I stepped outside and found it to be dead silent. Usually you can hear a bird or two, but now nothing. I took out my phone and filmed it. I got back in the car, and although it was kinda cool, it also spooked me a little. I drive further, and not long after I get completely enveloped by this dense shitty fog. I could barely see the tip of the hood, so naturally I had to slow down to snail pace. The windows were up, and I had the AC on, but suddenly it felt really fucking cold. I also felt this deep sense of dread, the kind you really can't explain, even though I was safe inside the car. I just drove on, being scared shitless. Finally I got out of it. It was like passing a wall. Completely clear. I looked in the rear-view mirror and I'm sure I saw what looked like a silhouette of a tall person. Pedal to the metal, I noped the fuck out of there. Get home to check the video. I had filmed the fog from a distance, but the video, just white.
So I live in an average-sized town of 60,000 inhabitants where almost nothing in particular really happens. As I said, it's always pretty damn calm and people get bored quickly, especially socially awkward anons like me. So I began to cruise the city and the near countryside looking for something interesting. That night I went out later, at circa 11:30 p.m., heading to the warehouse district near the outskirts of the city, where me and my father once witnessed unusual vehicle activity. There's a huge parking lot near a conference center that is connected to the aforementioned district just by a couple of roads that are usually empty all day long. The whole area is cut outside of the city by a 4-lane highway and there are always vehicles and trucks heading in and out said parking lot for no apparent reason. Sometimes they stop and drivers would exchange things from their windows. Other times they stop, walk out, and then after a couple of minutes go away. So I went just before the highway where there are a couple of buildings and another parking lot, and I climbed to the first floor of one of the warehouses to gain a better view of what is happening on the other side. My vehicle is parked just in front of this building. I stay here for 20 minutes and witness the same things I expected, with the help of my binoculars since they are roughly 400 meters from where I am in the lot. It is night, I am pretty distant and in a building that is not on the same row of that parking lot, so I am pretty sure I won't be seen by them. Then I saw a car that stood in the parking lot the whole time revving and heading to one of the roads to the exit. At first I don't mind them, but as I see them approaching the same parking lot I am in, I feel uneasy and start walking to the emergency ladder to get back to my car. They pass in front of my building, U-turn, and then they go back to the entrance of the parking lot and just stop there, turning off the car. By now I am really nervous and pretty sure they are not here randomly and probably know I am still there. I wait a minute or so but they won't leave, so I try to pass in front of the main entrance of the warehouse to get to my car knowing they will see me doing that. I briefly look at them before opening the door with my keys, but the car is too distant and I cannot see if there is one or more people at all in the car. I cannot bear the tension anymore and I decide to turn up the car anyway, and I slowly begin to turn the front of the vehicle towards the main entrance. I shift in second gear and I proceed near the car at a decisive but not too suspect pace, forgetting to even turn my headlights on. I pass the car that is still there turned off without having the courage to look at the greenhouse directly, because I don't want to look suspicious and also because I am genuinely scared. As I go through the main entrance I look in my rear mirror and I see that car turning its headlights on and slowly starting to exit the parking lot and maybe trying to follow me. As I see this scene I am already on a turn, and as soon as I lose direct eye contact with that car I stomp on the throttle to GTFO as fast as possible. I take a right, then a left, and I find myself in a long street. I am pretty sure they didn't see me go there, and there were 3 or 4 possible routes from where I could have been escaped after they first lost eye contact with me. But nonetheless I keep checking constantly my rear mirror until I take another turn to be sure that I lost them. I then head into the city streets where they have no hope to find me and I head for my home. They are nowhere to be seen. I start to calm down, but I park the car on a back street 200 meters away from my house in order to hide my car. Then I proceeded to return to my house. Well, this might not seem interesting or scary, but all that happened seemed very strange, and I almost shit myself. In my opinion, there are just too many strange things for all of this to be just a series of coincidences. I knew there was some kind of strange deal going on there. Maybe drug dealers or something more shady. What I am wondering is how the hell did they realize I was there and why they were so quick to come looking after me. Some random guy on a distant building emergency ladder. I also want to say that the building was partially lit and probably someone was still working there. Also, there were surveillance cameras, so I was not very suspect just standing there. I could have been a worker on pause or heading home for all they knew. But somehow I perceived that they felt threatened and tried to check who the fuck I was, or maybe tried to scare me off. Which they did. I admit I reacted badly, as I could just have stayed there pretending to be a worker and acting as if I didn't mind them, but what if they went out of the car and tried to come at me personally? They could have been armed or something, and I am not really accustomed to deal with this kind of situation. As I already said, my town is pretty calm and crime is almost non-existent. So I just tried to leave the parking lot calmly as soon as they turned off their car. Then I went out of there as fast as I could as soon as I went on the main road. I almost hoped they were some kind of security guards that may be called by the warehouse I was on, but that is unlikely since private security in my country is forced to use marked vehicles. Anyway, even if I don't think they will try to come after me again, and I'll surely avoid this area from now on. I hope they didn't see me or my license plate, as this car is not only used just by me but also by some of my family members.
I live in New Mexico. It's a Friday after work. Gotta get down on Friday. I haven't smoked in a while. Decided to treat myself with a drive out to the desert around sunset. Drive off the highway. I park my Jeep on a small little hill overlooking this valley area. Light up. Sit on the hood of my car and take in the sunset. Tick related, so fucking serene. That time right between dusk and night, when I see headlights on the valley below. Is that a, yeah, that a goddamn van? Like an bread delivery van. I know this is a cliche with these stories, but I get the weird my sixth sense is telling me this isn't right feeling. The van stops, at an angle to mine. It flashes its lights at me. You need help or something, guy. I see a figure get out, 1 foot still in the van. Look right the fuck at me and get back in and drive in reverse. Yeah, nah. I'm leaving. I'm driving on non-paved roads that you can easily get stuck in a ditch with. Cruising along when suddenly flashing light behind me. It's the bread van. Honking his horn, flashing lights and gating on me. Freak and go as fast as I can on these roads. If I didn't have a Jeep I wouldn't have made it. This guy is trying to spin me out like that part from Jeepers Creepers. I had a .22 Magnum. No, I wasn't a trained soldier, I had it for plinking. A tire iron and a pocket knife, and I'm still too stoned. Don't have the balls to start a fight with this guy. Who, mind you, was close enough that I could see his silhouette in my rearview mirror, and he's waving at me to pull over. Nope, keep up the cat and mouse game until I see the highway. When I got close to it he backed off, and took off into the desert. I wanted to make sure I wasn't trespassing on some land or something before going to the cops. The cop I talked to, highway patrol for 20 some odd years, tells me flat out people dump bodies, deal drugs or try to kidnap people off the highway in those areas, and to watch yourself if you go back. I don't go to the desert anymore.
Was thinking that the whole time. Sounds like a fuck day, mate. I have a similar story. I was with friends driving on back roads through Florida in 2005. We were coming from North Carolina and took a wrong turn. The road still let us out where we were going to arrive, so we decided to trek on. Narrow-ass 2-lane road and trees within pissing distance. No street lights. At first it was cool, but 20 miles later it got eerie. All I can think about is deer. We came up over a large hill to a car stopped in the middle of my lane. Got spooked just cause it was the first car we had seen since getting on the road. Slow down to about 10 miles per hour while coming up behind them. Discussing with friends what the fuck to do. Assessing the situation. The sedan didn't look in distress and it was clearly running with someone inside. We decided to go around them. As we're coming up to the side we see the person inside. Both hands on the wheel and staring directly at us. Nope, hard. Begin to accelerate and get back into the proper lane. Starting to go up another hill while watching the car in the rearview. He is clearly fucking moving now. All of us start losing it and I accelerate to 95 miles per hour. Get over the hill to find another longer one coming up. Not 5 seconds after we got over the hill we see his lights. He is clearly fucking speeding now. We all think we're being chased. Pedal in the metal. Can't go much faster, and we've seen maybe one side road the entire way. He's going to run us off the road and make piggies out of us. Then suddenly we just didn't see his headlights anymore. We went over a couple hills. Turned off on the first road we saw. And never saw the car again.
I was driving a shortcut from Twentynine Palms, California to Albuquerque, New Mexico. Twentynine Palms is located in the desolate high desert east of Los Angeles. The shortcut was all two-lane roads through total nothingness, except for passing through Amboy, California. Amboy is a nearly abandoned town nearly as far below sea level as Death Valley, with a dormant volcano and lava field on one side and a salt flat on the other. It was also, at the time, a hotspot for satanic group activity. So I was driving by myself in the afternoon. I stopped in Amboy and snapped a picture of the city sign, just to prove I was there to friends who dared me to take that route to I-40. I got back in my car and proceeded to drive up into the mountain range between Amboy and I-40. Once I reached the top, I am driving north through a canyon with high grass on both sides of the road. Up ahead, I see some stuff in the middle of the road. As I approach, I slow down to see a red Pontiac Fiero stopped sideways across both lanes. A suitcase open with clothes scattered everywhere and two bodies laying face down in the road. A man and a woman. I stop 100 feet or so away, and the hair on the back of my neck is standing up. Being a Marine, I reach under the seat and pull out a 9mm pistol and chamber a round. Something seemed very wrong. It looked too perfect, as if it were staged. An ambush. Was I being paranoid? Something was just wrong. Getting out of the car seemed unthinkable. It was the horror movie move. As I scanned the road, I saw a line I could drive past the guy in the road on his left, swerve to the right side of the woman, behind the Fiero, and I'd be on the other side. I dropped it into first gear, punched it, and drove the line I planned. I passed the back of the Fiero without hitting it or either of the bodies in the road. I continued forward a couple 100 feet and slowed down so I could breathe and let my heart slow down. As I looked up into the rearview mirror, I saw that the two bodies had gotten up to their knees and 20 or so people emerged from the tall grass on either side of the road by the car and bodies. At that moment, my right foot smashed the gas pedal to the floor and did not let up until I had to slow down for the I-40 East on-ramp. I will never know what would have happened to me had I gotten out of the car to check on the bodies or stopped my car closer to them. Somehow I do not think it would have been good. Sometimes real life can be scarier than a movie.
I've got two. Years ago in high school, Mom picked me up from a friend's house who lived way out in the middle of nowhere. Getting closer to the main road, but still on the shitty side road. Come around a bend. Mom lets out a gasp, grabs my arm and asks me if I just saw that. A huge black hairy thing hulkied over a dead deer on the side of the road, eating it, bigger than any dog I've ever seen. Could have been a bear in all honesty, but still very startling. This one is creepier and made me very paranoid to drive at night. This past summer, visiting parents for a weekend, they asked me to take my brothers and little cousin to the drive-in. Sure, cool, we'll go see the new Fast and Furious. The movie is awesome, everyone has fun. Driving back and it's 1 a.m. Eventually all the movie traffic peters off and it's just us. Have this habit of constantly watching the rear views at night. Notice a big truck with one of those light racks coming up from behind. Shrug, in rural areas, lots of people have those for hunting. Speed up a little, don't like tailgaters. The truck keeps speeding up to stay just enough behind. Start panicking. They're just staying slightly behind us. Turn up at home road. Still watching them, but their lights all go out. Can still see them following in the lights cast from the houses on the road. Start freaking the fuck out because it's pitch black and there's deer. Why would this person turn their lights off and still follow? Tell my brother's cousins to just get to the house, we'll grab everything in the morning. Herding 3 kids, go go go. Oldest brother goes, he stopped in the middle of the road, right there. Fuck fuck fuck, sprint to house, crash into living room screaming. Tell stepdad and mom about it. He grabs gun and gets in his car and drives down the road. Doesn't see anyone. I couldn't sleep that night. Still freaks me out thinking about it. I really think they knew I was a young person with 3 small kids and were trying to kidnap us or something. The last time someone followed me at night, I stopped the car, let him get out and began walking, then I stepped out with my shotgun and he started running the other way. No asshole's gonna fuck with me at night. Be driving at 3 a.m. Shitty Fiat follows me. I take a left turn. They take a left turn. I speed up. They speed up. I turn my lights off. They turn theirs off. I make a sudden right turn. They make a sudden right turn. I pull over. They pull over. Get shotgun ready. See them step out. A tall, dark hooded figure steps out. See a glint in his hand. Is that a fucking knife? We'll see what your shitty knife does against this. Step out with a shotgun. Hey asshole, 1 step closer and you'll die of lead poisoning. They stop. Try to casually yet hurriedly get back in car and drives off. That's what I thought, you colossal cunt. Never drive unarmed.
Okay, I guess it's time for my story. Me, 19, about 6 months ago. School hasn't started for the semester yet. Friends and I enjoy driving around late at night for hours on back roads, take random turns, and just talk about life and concerns. It's like getting fucked up shit off your chest with support from friends. We like going down scary roads, like Cossart Road, also known as Devil's Road. One day I'm driving myself and 2 other guys. It's the beginning of our trip for that night. We are driving down a pretty normal road. One friend points out our first turn for the night. I turn off onto this little road. Drive down this small road for about a mile, with a few dark houses here and there on either side. The road dead ends and I stop. Disappointed, we turn the car around and begin to drive back towards the main road we started on. Immediately upon completion of the 3-point turn, high beams come on directly behind my car. WTF. JPG. Where did this car come from? Drive back towards the main road. Car behind me is honking and flashing high beams. Riding behind me so close. WTF is this guy doing? I speed up, approaching the turn onto the main road. He too speeds up and stops just behind my car when I stop. I go to make a left-hand turn, crossing a lane of traffic. I time the turn so that this asshole behind me shouldn't be able to follow due to traffic in both directions. He turns anyway. Car he turned in front of swerves off the road. WTF is wrong with this guy? My friends and I are seriously confused and concerned. We decide it's just some asshole trying to get off on danger and fucking with people. Not to sound full of myself, but I'm a great driver. Like I can maneuver cars like very few. I speed up, all the while this guy is following close, honking, and flashing. I see another road up ahead on the left. I make a skidding left-hand turn onto this back road. So does the other guy. How could he have made that turn in his SUV? Starting to get worried, I decide it's time to stop messing around. I pull out all the tricks I have, driving all around a mess of back roads at high speeds for just under an hour. I have a photographic memory, and fuck with my friends driving down back roads with absolutely no lights on at night for considerable lengths. I do this, drive fast, he shuts off his lights, I brake and make an approximately 120-degree turn that is difficult to see even in the day. I continue down this road at a reduced speed, but not slow by any means. We think we lost him, and all feel relieved. We jump when high beams come on directly behind my car. Seriously, fuck this shit. Start to make my way back towards my house because fuck this psycho. Eventually make it to a shopping center near my house. I pull up next to a man loading his car with groceries. A crazy guy pulls up behind me. Lights from the parking lot allow me to see into his car. Watching him in my mirror. Huge bald dude with a crazy look on his face. He violently points at me, then proceeds to drag his finger across his neck. Nope. JPG. I sped out and told my friend riding shotgun to call 911 and have cops go to my house. I get home, followed by this guy, pull up my driveway, into the garage, and get out of my car. A crazy guy pulls a huge black SUV into my driveway, then reverses, positioning his car so that if I left my house, he once again would be following me. I grabbed my weapon of choice from my garage. Why do I own a pickaxe? I yell, "What?" at this crazy guy, brandishing my pickaxe in a "fight me bitch" manner. My two friends nope and grab me and talk me down, bringing me inside. I tell my family what has happened and the cops are on their way, lock the doors. 10 or so minutes go by and this guy eventually drives away. I had a gut feeling he didn't leave, and was parked at a little pull-off at the front of my neighborhood, watching out the front window for another 10 minutes. The police finally came. I see their lights coming around the bend and know they stopped at this guy's car. Another 15 to 20 minutes go by. WTF is happening out there? Eventually the cops come to my door. What kind of trouble were you getting into tonight? Confused, I looked at my friends and back at the cops and reply that we were just going out for a drive. Being college students, cops assume out smoking pot in the valley. Cops say this man is a private security officer from a gated community who says we broke in and he has been chasing. I say no, that isn't true. There aren't even any gated communities in my area. I asked police officer what he was doing, and where he was. Wanting to confirm where I thought he was. We found his car parked at the front of the neighborhood, but no one was in it. What? JPG. Officers say they found him creeping near my back door. WTF, how did I not notice? They say they sent him on his way after taking his information. Let us off with a warning. WTF, we did nothing wrong. Tells us to stay out of trouble. Cops leave, friends don't buy the story. We lock up my house, and leave again, but I leave through the back exit of my neighborhood, just in case. Drive past the neighborhood front and see his car is gone. Relieved, I took my friends home.
I hope that you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you enjoyed tonight's story, then please subscribe to the channel, as more green texts will appear daily. A new broadcast will appear when the clock strikes midnight Central Time.
Remember to check out the Odyssey page in the description for a second archive of the channel's videos.